750 roller coaster aficionados representing 32 states, Canada, and Europe. They gathered May 17th through the 19th at Kings Island for the American Coaster Enthusiasts Spring Conference. Hello, everyone. Alongside Ryan Sir, I'm Don Helbig, and this is Tower Topics.
Tower Topics is a podcast by Kings Island fans for Kings Island fans. That's who we are, and that's who we care about. So, Don, you got to attend the ACE Spring Conference at Kings Island, which is cool because I know you've been looking forward to that for quite a while. But what are your initial thoughts?
I thought it was a fantastic event. Very well done. The American Coaster Enthusiast, events director Steve Berto, and the ACE committee. Working with the individual at Kings Island, Chad Showalter, Elizabeth Nadeau, Alexa Fisher. I mean, they really put on a first-class event. Very well done. It was 3 days of just a lot of different behind-the-scene tours, ERT, great food, just a lot of fun.
Yeah, it sounds like those who didn't attend really missed out because you got to do some really special stuff. But what were some of the highlights for you?
Some of the highlights for me were really that opportunity to reconnect with a lot of friends that I've known for over the years that are members of ACE. Also meeting some new ACE members, and being able to do the Beast Tour, without having to worry about where everybody was going and just enjoy it. Those were the highlights for me.
Yeah. So I heard that there was a little event that happened when you were riding the first ride of the day on the Kings Island and Miami Valley Railroad.
Yeah, that was very interesting. So it was on day 2 of the event, which was on the Saturday, May 18th. And you got 750 people. So everybody, crowds into the train. Not everybody could get on. So there was maybe 60, 70 that had to wait for the next train, but just a full load. So the idea was we were going to go around, the course, and then was going to back into the engine house where everybody could kind of get a look at what's going on behind the scenes, see the Green 19 being worked on. So the train leaves the station and it's struggling a little bit. All that extra weight, first run of the day, there's still some dew in that on the track. It, goes around by Diamondback and it's going over the trestle. But I'm looking out and I can see the wheels are really churning and everything. Well, then as you get by, you're starting to go around where the engine house is off to your right as you're going around before you see the town off to your right, and just really spinning, and it kind of stopped for a second, and then it kind of picked up again, but just really, really struggling. And then it makes it as it's approaching Soak City, you can get to where the sidewalk and that is near Soak City, and it just stopped. So we were there for a minute or so, and I'm thinking, oh gosh, we're gonna have to get out and probably walk back. But then they decided they were going to, from that point, roll us backwards, and we were going to go backwards, all the way back around. We went, past Mystic Timbers and Diamondback and all that, back through, rolled through the station. Everybody's kind of, in the station's kind of like puzzled. Why is the train going through backwards? Then went around under Mystic Timbers and then kind of backed into the engine house. So getting that roll back on the train was, unique for all the ACE members that were on that train. That's something that you experience every day. Now, I had been on it before where it, kind of struggled to get up that incline. As you can see right there, if you're watching on the video, you can see the town. That is a steep incline for a train. It might not look like it while you're riding it, but I've been on it in Winterfest where it was a little tough, but it still made it. And so we back into the engine house, and they talked to us a little bit there, but it made the train ride more memorable than just another train ride. Going through for everybody to get to the engine house by experiencing it backwards and getting that rollback.
Yeah. So I guess for those of you who are watching the video version, this is a picture from inside the train house, I guess. Sometimes Don sends me photos, but doesn't give me context, but I know this one, Yeah.
The Green 19 is going to be back out early June. So it's about, they said 75% done with its off-season rehab work. So it should be back out on the rails really soon.
That's cool. Yeah, train tours are always a good time. But so your perspective is probably a little unique because you've been on the other side of this whole transaction. But what about the other attendees? What do you think that they enjoyed the most?
Well, obviously the ERT, they enjoyed those night rides on the Beast, but the Beast tour was certainly a highlight for the members that were there. But also being able to go inside the Spaghetti Bowl with Flight of Fear with the lights on, and not just seeing the trains run, but trains, running with guest riding. I think that was something that was really enjoyable for all the attendees. And those that had attended Coasterstock that also were at this event, when you do some of the behind the scene tours, Banshee being one of them, they got to go back a little bit further than they ever had before. And I think they really liked that because you were able to get some really cool shots of Banshee.
Yeah. And I'd love to single it out and to say, like, man, those Acers, they love just going a little bit further each time. But if I was there, I would totally be excited about that. I have to admit.
Yeah, they're real excited about that. And there was another part of Banshee, the part 2, that took them down behind, where the Son of Beast station, what's left of it, is, and to get some shots of the bats. So the behind the scene tours, the Banshee tour, and being able to go back behind Son of Beast, was an opportunity that, wasn't there with Coasterstock. We had done during Coasterstock the going into the Spaghetti Bowl and getting those photos and video opportunities there. So that wasn't new to everybody. But for those that experienced that for the first time, I mean, they were just getting some great photos and video, and they were all very excited about the content they were able to get in there.
Yeah, absolutely. Did you make any friends while you were there?
I did. I happened to meet a friend of the show, Xander, and, his friends that were with him. But, what they really wanted to know during, all 3 days, they kept asking me, is Ryan Sir here? Where's Ryan?
Where's Ryan Sir? We've been looking for him all day.
So here's the funny thing about that. They were looking for me. I was at the park on Friday and Saturday. I wasn't there Sunday. I saw a ton of people with those Ace lanyards, and nobody came up to me and said hi. So Ryan, they were not looking very hard for me at all.
Ryan, there were a number of people that came up to me, and they told me that they really enjoyed Tower Topics. They liked the Attractions Group podcast, but a lot of them were mostly talking about Tower Topics. They asked me if you were there. I told them you weren't part of the Ace event. Is he at the park today? I don't know, but people were definitely looking for you.
Yeah, it was hot and crowded, so I didn't last very long at that weekend. But
that's something I want to bring up too, because I had mentioned to Xander that you said it was too hot and you left. Yeah, that you had been there. We're talking it was May 18th. Yeah, if it's too hot on May 18th, are we going to see you in June, July, and August at Kings Island? I mean, you can't deal with the hot in May.
I take June, July, and August off, and then I come back for hot when it's only kind of hot. Now, for those of you who are not,
you're getting soft if you thought it was too hot on Saturday.
You think I'm a curmudgeon, so I'm getting up there in age, and I don't like that. It hurts my bones when the temperature changes. No, it was just the early season is kind of like a double-edged sword, because on one hand, the park's new to you for the season and you get to go and experience it and see all the new stuff. On the other hand, it's also music in the parks, which brings in thousands upon thousands of middle school kids, which makes the park just uber crowded. I love the park in a way that's unique. I feel like, because there are people, even you might even fall into, actually, you've kind of demonstrated you fall into this category where, you want to go to the park, you get there first thing in the morning and you stay for quite a while and stuff. But for me, it's kind of like, I like to go and walk around and pop in the shops and, I'll ride some stuff here and there, but it's kind of like the meeting place for me and my friends. So sometimes we go there and we hang out, we have a meal together, and then afterwards we'll go somewhere else or whatever. And that's just the nature of my relationship as a guest at Kings Island. I don't love the park any less than I did 20 years ago, 25 years ago when I was doing KIC. It's just that it's evolved. I don't have to ride Diamondback every visit. I don't have to ride the Beast every visit. I'm just happy to be there. And by the way, if anybody sees me, I consider myself pretty approachable. Feel free to say hi. A lot of people have. But yeah, I was there for several hours each day. I think I spent about a total of 5 or 6 hours amongst the 2 days. And
I think, Ryan, part of the problem is that, maybe you don't get recognized as much while you're in the park because you look a little, you're taller in person than maybe you look on Tower Topics.
Yeah. On Tower Topics, I bet people think I'm like 5'2", but I'm 6'1". You also said that I was wearing, you said the sunglasses were the culprit last time. These aren't my normal sunglasses. I have black Oakleys, but this is what I look like in sunglasses, And in the reflection, you can see Don, which I'm looking at on the screen. See, if you're an audio listener, you miss out on a lot of fun. I'm just saying.
You do. You got to watch the YouTube version, right?
I'm going to try to get on the Ace train. And, well, I guess they won't have the spring conference next year at the park, but they'll have some sort of event. I'll try to do that if you do it, and we can go together and we can meet people together and stuff. And I'm sure
this won't be my last Ace event. I'm certainly going to go to other Ace events that they'll have at different parks, and I want to get involved with the preservation things they do. Just a great organization, and like I said, Steve Berto, the events director for Ace, the committee, Chad, Elizabeth. Alexa at Kings Island all did a fantastic job putting this together. And I think, Ryan, if you had, been a part of this event, I think you would have had just a terrific time.
I think I would have too. I've been to several coaster stocks, Beast Buzz back when Coaster Buzz had an event. I've been to Ace events as a guest and stuff. And I did this. It seems like they pulled out of the stops. So congratulations to the Kings Island team for putting on a really good event. And obviously your endorsement of it probably means a lot to a lot of people. So that's cool. But so world-renowned actor from the movie Roller Coaster, Dennis Spiegel, was there, and he did a presentation. Can you talk about that a little bit?
He did. What he talked about was the movie Roller Coaster and his part that he played in that. The movie Roller Coaster and Ace, it's where Ace was founded. They were doing a shoot at Kings Dominion. They needed some coaster fans that would be able to ride at that time was called the Rebel Yell, kind of like the racer at Kings Island, repeatedly over and over again. And in between shots and that, these individuals would sit down, or when they were eating their meals and that, and they all had the same genuine interest. And that's when Ace was formed. So it was a perfect thing for Dennis to talk about, because it took Ace back to its origins, from Kings Dominion to the movie Roller Coaster. But Dennis talked about his involvement. He had a line in the movie where he was the general manager of Kings Dominion, and he was in real life, but he was in the movie too. And his name was Pierce in the movie. But he had one line was just asking, what the heck is going on around here, and he talked a little bit about, some of the different actors that were in the movie and how it came to be. And when, they were presented, Kings Dominion was with the script for the movie, how he wanted to meet with the producers and the writers and suggested some changes to the script, because that's not, how he wanted it to be, anybody in the industry really wanted it to be depicted with an extortionist, looking to blow up roller coasters and that in your park. But everybody enjoyed it. Again, it had that Ace tie-in, and he brought a print. If you watched the movie and you're in his office, behind him there was it's like a sketch of him, a drawing of him, and he brought that with him, and that was a nice photo op after he was done presenting for a lot of the Ace members to get a photo of that with Dennis.
Yeah. So do you think that, I imagine if Jaleel White, who played Steve Urkel in Family Matters, he probably every day he goes anywhere, but say it, and he has to go, did I do that? And then Stephanie from Full House has to say, how rude, there's different catchphrases. Do you think Dennis Spiegel gets asked a lot to say, what the heck is going on here?
I would imagine if you're a coaster enthusiast and you watch the movie, sure, he's going to probably be asked about that. But, he talked about how for a number of years, he would get the royalty check or whatever, every year for how many times it ran or something. He said sometimes, it could be a few $1,000s. Other times he's making like $1.50 on it or something. But it was just really a good, just really interesting to hear him talk about his experience with that. being a part of that movie, and everybody was really engaged in what he had to say. And because we're talking about Ace, a lot of them had seen the movie, so they fully understood what he was talking about.
I haven't seen it yet. I'm gonna have to, especially knowing Dennis Spiegel and that sort of stuff. Like, I feel like it's a disservice to well, even the history. Like, Ace was founded the day that they filmed there because all those people were hanging out with nothing to do, and they were like, "We all like this stuff. Let's create a guild."
And I'm gonna have a publish a blog soon about the movie Roller Coaster. I have it written, but I haven't gotten around to publishing yet. But it's really, if you're a fan of the amusement and theme park industry, it's a movie that you definitely want to watch.
Yeah. Do you think I would recognize like scenes in it from modern King's Dominion?
Oh yeah, absolutely. That was my first introduction to the Singing Mushrooms.
Really? So
yeah,
I'm looking, and the movie Roller Coaster is not available on any streamer. That's a shame. I was going to watch
Helen
it.
Hunt. Yeah, very young Helen Hunt was in that movie. You got Magic Mountain. There's some identifiable things from Magic Mountain still, to this day. And certainly
sir,
King's
that's
Dominion.
called Wally World.
You're seeing the fountain at King's Dominion, the Eiffel Tower. At that time they had the Sky Ride. Racer 75, which was known as Rebel Yell back then. The Kid Wooden roller coaster. So I mean, there was a lot of attractions that are still there today. It's really some of the footage that they had at that time in the park. It's fantastic.
All right, so I'm on a mission because I can't find any streamers. I've got an app that looks that up, and I'm looking through like iTunes, and there's a movie called Roller Coaster. It came out in 1999. That's in there. Not the one from 1977 or whatever it is.
Well, I have it on DVD. I've watched it over a couple hundred times. I watched it a couple weeks ago just so I could, as I was writing the article for my blog on it. So one day, Ryan, I'll have you come over. I'll go over to your place or something, and we'll watch the movie Roller Coaster because you have to see it.
Well, see, I think I have a DVD player. I'm looking on Amazon now. We're recording this live, and I'm shopping. So let me ask you this: how did this differ from Coasterstock?
Well, I think the difference, Coasterstock evolved into kind of like a annual family reunion for a lot of the attendees. Every year, you'd have over 70%, had been there before, and everybody, look forward to reconnecting with their friends and making new friends. So it was more about the camaraderie and less about the ERT and those behind the scene experiences. It was more about just hanging out with your friends and that. Where because Ace goes to so many different places every year for the spring conference, it's not in the same spot all the time. So you're going to get a different audience where you go. So I think that was the biggest difference, is maybe the camaraderie and maybe the vibe of it was a little different because it didn't feel like that big family reunion. But nonetheless, a fantastic event. I remember when you and I first talked about this, when that was announced back in January, I said, there'd be some of the same elements. And I said, in a lot of ways, I think this could be better than Coasterstock. And I think in some ways it was.
Oh, that's cool. So was it weird being on this side of the fence? Like, since you ran Coasterstock all those years and now you're a guest?
Not at all. I had a number of people that came up to me over the 3 days and just asking how did it feel to be on this side after, like you said, putting those events together for so many years. But no, it didn't feel different at all. I mean, before I started working at Kings Island in 2007, I'm a longtime Ace member. So I had gone to different coaster cons that they had done. I had gone to different events at Kings Island. They had, a national conference there. They had spring conferences there. They had Beast Bash and Beast Buzz and those kind of things there. So over the years, there've been a number of different events at Kings Island I had attended, and also at other, parks around the country. So it just felt that I was back in my own element, back, full circle, back to doing what how I got involved in this to begin with. So it didn't feel strange at all. I felt perfectly at home with what I was doing.
Very cool. Was there anything that maybe fell short or that you wish they'd expanded on or anything like that?
Well, like I said, fantastic event. And if there was anything that I would say that probably, if it missed the mark or, I thought they might do a little, something different with. It would have been on the last day on May 19th. That was the 45th anniversary of the first ever Beast Walk Back. Now, it was on the agenda as a Beast Walk Back, and they kind of noted that it was the anniversary, but there was nothing to really commemorate it or talk about it. If somebody had not experienced that, there were a lot of ACE members there that, I remember doing the ACE Walk Back with them in the 80s and the 90s. But if you were new to ACE, or maybe had never been to Kings Island before and you didn't know anything about it, I think that would have been a nice touch to kind of, commemorate that a little bit, maybe, like explain the backstory to it, how it became what it did and became a part of that legacy with the Beast and Ace for so many years. That was the only thing really that I thought that just kind of got glossed over a little bit. But other than that, again, fantastic event, one of the best events I've ever been to. And
so I take it that you are happy with your decision to go. Then you're glad you went.
Oh, absolutely! I was excited with my decision to go. Like it was good to reconnect. With so many familiar faces and friends, and meet some new friends, and just have conversations with different people. We had Dave on a few weeks ago talking about Kennywood, and I sat down with him for like 45 minutes just talking about Kennywood, and fan of the show Xander, just chatting with him, and I got to ride the racer with him. So just different things like that. Night rides on the Beast, were terrific. Couldn't get enough of that. So yeah, I mean, it was just so much fun, and I wish ACE would do that annually at Kings Island, but obviously they can't. But wherever their spring conference is next year, I'm certainly going to have interest in going to it. It was just such a good time.
And maybe Coasterstock will be back next year.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, but I really, I if you're a fan of the amusement theme park industry and you're interested in roller coasters and you like meeting other like-minded people, look into joining ACE. I mean, it's a fantastic organization, 46 years old, so many good people involved with the club, a lot of different opportunities on how you get involved, past just being a member. Certainly give that some thought, because I don't think you would regret becoming an ACE member.
I completely agree. Now, we've got to talk about Hush Puppies here in a second, but before we do that, I want you to tell me about the shirt that's hanging behind you, and then we'll talk about Hush Puppies.
The shirt behind me is the Tower Topic shirt. Let me see if I can pull it down here.
Yeah, you might want to pull it down.
A little bit better look.
Oh, that's such a good-looking shirt. How can you get one of those shirts, Don?
Well, I did see some of these shirts too at the ACE event. Some individuals were wearing them, but you can connect with Ryan and I on the Tower Topics X. Just send us a direct message. Let us know that you're interested. We'll send you the details on how to make the purchase. They are $22. They come in 88 sizes. So whatever size you may need, we have them. No extra cost if you need a 2X or 3X or whatever. They're real comfortable shirts. And so we have those available, and we've been selling a couple of those shirts every day, and it's a nice way to show your support for the show too.
Yeah, we'd love to see them around the park, and maybe we'll do something where I'm not guaranteeing this, but like if we have a meet and greet and you show up wearing the shirt, like you get a prize or like a tweet. I'm just thinking out loud. Okay. So Tower_Topics on X, shoot us a DM with your size and stuff. We'll send you.
Yes, $22, and that does include the shipping.
Yeah, and then we'll be good to go. Okay, so let's talk about Hush Puppies. So this is kind of a funny story because I was not thinking that this would be a big deal, and really it isn't. But it's worth discussing because we have this platform and it's about Kings Island. But and this is kind of like a life lesson, and it's a lesson about not shopping out of your own pocket. But I went to Coney Barbecue. I guess this was Friday, maybe it was Saturday. I can't remember. So we go through the line, get our food. Person in front of me gets the last Hush Puppy in the little container, and the person serving the food's like, "What side do you want?" And I was like, "Don't they get a Hush Puppy?" And they were like, "We're out of them." And I said, "Can I do something different?" And they're like, "No." I said, "Can I wait?" "No, it's going to be a long time." And I was like, Okay. So yeah, I was with the girlfriend. I said, hey, they're out of hush puppies. She's like, I hate hush puppies anyway. So all right, whatever, that's fine. Um, so but I was thinking about it, and it's like, to me, it wasn't that big of a deal. I've got the meal plan, whatever. I got the meal. The hush puppy is just an extra thing. But I ended up posting about it on the season pass group. And the reason why I did that is because I was thinking about, if I had paid $18 for that food or whatever they're charging, I expect to get everything that's presented with it. We're not talking about $5, $6, $10. We're talking about a food that is 3 times the price where it would be outside the park. So my thought, and what I put in the post was, this doesn't really bother me. I've got the meal plan. If you have the meal plan, then whatever, carry on. But if you're paying for your food, you should know about this. Most people were like, yeah, that's stupid. And then people, came back saying like, well, I came an hour later and they had them again. So I guess it's resolved. I wasn't trying to imply that they're gone for good or anything. But the thing though is, I didn't get this response, but often when people say, hey, I got this and look how burnt my food is, the typical response is, why are you complaining on here? You should have been talking to a manager or something. Well, here's the thing. The person that did this and was kind of curt, not exactly rude, but kind of curt to me and not apologetic at all, was a supervisor. They just happened to be working the line. And then, just to say no about it. And we know that they look at that season pass group. So here's the problem that we're running into with the park. If it's smaller portions, if it's burnt food, if it's somebody being rude or whatever, there have been times, both good and bad. I try to keep in communication with guest services pretty regularly. I more 9.9 times out of 10, it's like, hey, this person helped me. They put an extra effort. Thank you. I'm getting to the point now, actually not even to the point now. It's actually been true for years, and I never really thought about it. Nobody responds. So I don't know if people aren't looking at the emails or the people that read the emails just don't care. But I do know that when people start posting stuff in the season pass group, they take action on it immediately. So if you want to affect change, that's how you have to do it. Because clearly there was a supervisor standing in front of me and they didn't have all the food options that they were supposed to have. A typical a little, I'm sorry, no, we can't do anything or whatever would have been fine. But it was just a no, and you can't wait. So, then it's relegated to the court of public opinion. So, I mean, it's not like the post went viral or broke the internet or whatever, but I know that a couple people have asked me, like, why did you post about a hush puppy? But when it comes down to it, with the prices they're charging, you should at least get what is offered. So let me ask you, do you think I was out of line in this situation? No one's told me I was out of line, by the way. But I'm just curious because I'm very firm on the whole, like they can, I'm very much a capitalist. They can charge whatever they want for their food because I can yes or no buy it, but at the same time, the bait and switch thing is unethical, saying that, I mean, the prestige thing, my God, but saying you're going to have a food item and then not having it or whatever. And then somebody pointed out the hush puppy isn't technically on the menu, which, okay, that's fine. But they've given out a hush puppy with every single meal for 5 years now. It's kind of an expectation. And again, I'm not upset about it. I was, a little taken back by how the person talked to me. And if you're listening from the park, please don't reach out to me. I don't know who it was. I didn't catch their name, nor do I care to get somebody in trouble. It's not that big of a deal. But I want to know your opinion. Do you think that warranted talking about it? Should we open up the conversation, or do you think that it was just like, it's a hush puppy. You shouldn't have bothered. You shouldn't have wasted your breath,
Well, Ryan, what I think is that, you frequent Coney Barbecue a lot. You're accustomed to getting the hush puppy.
Mm-hmm.
You just asked a question, can it be replaced? You got to know. I think for me, anytime I've gone there and I've gotten the hush puppy, I give it away, because I'm not going to eat it. But so to me, it would not have mattered, but it matters to you. And I think that's the big thing, is that, if something matters to you and there's an expectation and you're not getting it, you got to let somebody know.
Yeah, and unfortunately, the person that I should have let know was the person that said that. And again, if it was more apologetic, like, "Hey, I'm sorry, they're making them now. It's going to be a while. Like, I'm not allowed to give you an extra size." Which the good customer service thing to do would be to replace it with something else, by the way. But that's neither here nor there. But if it was more apologetic, it would have gone right over my head, like no problem
Yeah.
whatsoever.
Well,
But the
here's
whole,
the other part of it too. Is I mean, you got the dining plan,
Mhm.
so you go there a lot. But I think from your point of view, I think after I saw your post, and I think that what you were trying to say too is if you'd have paid
yeah,
$18 for that's it's
oh
not
yeah,
you. You're talking about the person that would have paid $18 for it. So I think that yeah. I mean, if I paid for something $18, 19, whatever it is, and there was supposed to be something included with it, and it wasn't, and you weren't getting a replacement, then yeah, I would have a little issue with that.
yeah. But that's my whole point. Again, I and you have to hold people accountable with stuff. So if you let every little thing slide, like again, the meal plan will be burgers and chicken tenders if the chicken tenders are even a thing next year with how small they've gotten, and hot dog. It'll be that unless people speak up. All right. And but well, let me like do you see the problem with the principle? You mentioned you give away the hush puppy,
I do
but
because it's not something that
right.
it's.
But
I'm a
you
picky
wouldn't
eater,
eat
so
it.
that's not something I would eat.
Right. You wouldn't eat it, but if it's main course, side, hush puppy, and then you've got sticker shock from the price, and then they're, oh, by the way, you only get two of the three, no matter how
Yeah,
minuscule it
yeah,
is.
yeah.
Like
I think if there's three, there's got to be three. I mean, you just replace it with something else. The best you can until you get more of them made.
yeah, and I wasn't trying to set the precedent of, oh, instead of the hush puppy, can I get an extra side, like as a normal thing? But I think in an extraneous situation, as a good customer service call, that probably would have been the right thing to do. I'm not trying to make that argument because probably the person, even as a supervisor, couldn't have, like, I probably would have gone to the register and they try to charge me. But for me, like again, I wasn't mad, wasn't upset. It was just more like, hey, if you're spending your money, you need to know this before you wait in that line and you get up there. You have the sticker shock of the prices, and then they unapologetically have two of the three items that are supposed to come with it. So I just, again, I didn't want to come off as like whining about not having a hush puppy. It wasn't that big of a deal. But here's the
It's
thing,
the
Kings
principle.
Island. If you're charging $18 for fast food, you better get it right. That's the least you can do. All right. Well, enough about hush puppies, Don. I don't know why you wanted to talk about that so badly. Let's move on to the listener
Me.
question.
Anyway, go ahead. Go ahead. Listener questions. Go ahead.
Okay, so this is
The
from.
first one.
Do you want to read the first one or shall I?
You can read it.
Okay. This is from Liz. In the Brady Bunch episode filmed at Kings Island, Mike meets the park execs in a conference room. On the walls are a couple of photos. One is a house at the end of a long road. Is that photo still there? Is it the house inside the train fort before the park was built? Liz, that is the most obscure question we have ever been asked on Tower Topics.
Well, I think she might have. They during the ACE Spring Conference, one of the activities was the opportunity to watch the Brady Bunch episode that was filmed at
Right.
Kings Island in 1973, and they're in the conference room, and she might have spotted that photo behind.
Oh, wait. I
Um,
put up. I thought this was Brady
that,
Bunch, but that's the movie. Okay,
that's the
yeah.
movie,
So
yeah,
yeah, they
yeah.
watched
So
they
she
didn't screen the
spotted that,
episode.
yeah, yeah. So I think number one, the answer to the question, that photo is not still on the wall in there. It was still around when I started working there in 2007. Then they had been paneling and everything in the room, and then they kind of remodeled that, and that's when those photos kind of went away, and they were in a box and a storage room in the hallway and that for a number of years. I don't know if they're still there. As far as is that the house, I don't know. It was hard to tell from a picture if that was, the road went right next to the house like that. I think where that house is on the train compared to where Columbia Road came down, a little bit more distance than what it looks like in that picture. So if I had to guess, I would say probably not, but it could have been.
It was probably a decorative photo, but was that were the conference rooms scenes filmed in the conference room in the admin building, or the one that's on the that it's actually probably not there anymore because they've renovated so much, but there was a conference room in the IR too.
There was one in the IR, correct. There's been back and forth about which one it was. But what I can tell you is it looks like it was the one in the administration office, because now there's the paneling, and that's been it's been remodeled in that. But that conference table, when you watch the episode, that is the same conference table that is still in there. Now I have no idea how they got that table in there. So I mean, it's huge. Maybe like the house around the fort, they built around it. I don't know, but that conference table, is still original from the time the park opened in 1972 in there.
Yeah. So great question, Liz. The mystery of the picture hanging on the wall. And we should mention, by the way, you alluded to this, but that conference room, when you started there, looked exactly like it did in the Brady
Bunch.
Bunch.
It did. Yeah, there was still
modernized
family
it
in there.
quite a bit.
Yeah,
Exactly.
exactly.
It was funny because the Edmund building and the IR has been renovated a lot, but I remember both of those in the mid 2000s, like looking right out of the 70s. Yeah, that horrible wood paneling. The IR stuff was like old, like it was like an old Pizza Hut, the booths and stuff that I think they're all gone now. But so next listener question, Jared Express says, "What do you guys think is the best haunted house during haunt?" What do you think, Don?
Well, for me, it's Hotel St. Michel, and we had a chance to do a lights on tour of that during the Spring Conference. But yeah, that was the best one. I mean, it's immersive. The actors are those characters, and they're really, really good. I like the backstory with it. So really well done. So that's my favorite. What about you, Ryan?
I think so too. I think I'm with Hotel St. Michel. The only caveat, and this has got a huge asterisk, is technically Madame Fatale's is still on the docket, but it's not nearly as good as it was when it came. When it first came, it was very immersive and stuff, and it had fire effects. So to me, that still holds a place in my heart. But what they have now, the hotel or the Madame Fatales that they have now, is a shell of what it once was. But yeah, Don, what's your favorite haunt maze of all time? Is it Hotel St. Michel, or is it something else?
I'm going to go with that one. I mean, I think that surpassed the other ones. I like Kilmort. That's had years where it's been really good, but Hotel St. Michel, just because of the attention to detail and the backstory.
I do like Hotel St. Michel. There was Curse of the Crypt for you old schoolers. That one was cool. It had a crawling section where you crawl over this thing and you're on plexiglass and it would light up and someone was under it and stuff. That was old Paramount Days stuff. But
back behind the racer
in the games building, yeah. And then they had a bunch. I didn't go in 2000, but they bought a bunch of mazes or leased them or something from Madison Square Gardens. And that's when they had the haunted house, like up in the Eiffel Tower. And one like Phantom Theater was a haunted house and stuff with live actors. So I wish I had gone that year, but one of those, I mean, people talk about that stuff like it's legendary, but yeah.
Carnival was good.
Yeah, that was like a John Hawkins design, I think. Oak Island Creative. Yeah. Awesome. Hey, great question. Thanks for the question, Jared. Hey, I'm Ryan Sir along with Don Helbig, and this is Tower Topics.